Hello, everybody, and welcome to Intermediate English Conversation for week number 2. As you can see, actually, this is my second time recording this, so I'm getting a little bit tired of recording. So we're going to try to go through this really quick, and we're going to cover some things that we covered last week, and we're going to do some new things as well. Okay? Okay, so without further ado, let's get started now. Okay, so we're gonna talk about today's joke. Today's joke. Um, so what we do with a joke is we try to like break the tension. Try to break the tension and get to know each other a little bit better. And when I have a real class, then I like to break the tension a lot with a kind of icebreaker. So let's listen to this joke and let's see if you understand it. If you understand the joke, please explain it in the Kakao Talk or send an email about it. The first person who can explain the joke, well, we'll see. You get some kind of prize. So there are two drunk men stumbling through the streets late one night after a work party. One drunk man stumbles into the other man. The second drunk man looks up at the sky and says, "Hey, is that the sun or the moon?" The first drunk man replies, "I don't know. I'm a stranger here too." What can it mean? Read that joke over. Maybe it's not super funny, but it's kind of clever. So if you think that maybe you understand this joke, please let me know. Okay, so now we broke the tension. Now you guys feel a little bit better. Let's get started. Today's agenda. So agenda means what we want to talk about today. What are we going to do today? I'm going to explain everything that we're going to do today. First, we're going to review something from before. We're going to talk about upcoming schedule. We're going to talk about adverbs of frequency and talking about your daily life. We're going to talk about writing an email. And we're going to do some reminders of things that you need to remember coming up in the near future. Okay guys, so first let's talk about upcoming schedule. What do you need to know? So I recommend you write these things down so that you remember them or mark them on your calendar. First, the week of March 22nd, finish your student profile. Okay, we're going to talk about that more a little bit. The week of March 15th to 19th, we're going to have a Zoom class, so you know that's next week. And we can talk a little bit about the profile in that Zoom class. So please get your Zooms ready. The week of April 5th, we're going to have a quiz based on class materials. It's not a very difficult quiz, but it's a chance to get more point. Many students are not comfortable speaking, but they're very good at taking tests. So this is a chance. Don't think about it as a stressful thing. Think about it, this is your chance to get more points. Okay, it's part of your participation score. 25 questions. Okay, it's based on things that we did in class, from the book, what we talked about in class, and in the videos. In the week of April 19th, we'll have our midterm test. It's going to be online in writing. If we have class for midterms, we might do a speaking, but I think we're not going to have a real class. So I think it probably is going to be just online. Okay? All right, so that's our upcoming schedule. Don't forget, don't take a photo, but instead I recommend write this down in your notebook. Okay, so the first thing is, let's talk about the profile homework. Go to the class portal and click assignments. You remember, if you can change the language, it's going to say 과제물. Okay, so it'll be on the left-hand side. It says 과제물. Fill out the profile document. Include a photo and lots of information. Upload the document when you're finished. Or do a video file. 2 to 3 minutes of talking about yourself, and it's going to raise your letter grade 1 grade. Like if you get a B+, I'm going to raise it to an A+. If you did the video file, I'm going to raise your profile score. So it's going to be easier to get an A if you do the video profile. So video profile, so that would mean don't just don't just talk for 1 second. You need to talk for like 2 or 3 minutes, something like that, and talk about yourself on a little video, and then you're going to upload it and send it to me. Okay, you can upload it on, you should be able to upload it on our class website, I believe. Okay. Okay, so this is an example of what I might want to include if I'm gonna do a video profile. Okay, so let's watch this. It doesn't have to be outside, but you'll see.
Hello students, and welcome back to class. I'm just preparing this short video so that you can understand what I expect from you out of your video profile. Remember, I said you can do a paper profile or a video profile, but I think that a paper profile is not as good as a video profile. So I'll tell you a little bit about myself. As you already know, my name is George Beyer. You can call me Professor Beyer or just George. I'm from the United States of America. I'm from the state of Ohio, which is located in the Midwest, but is very close to Canada. And it's right in the middle between our two biggest cities, New York and Chicago. So I can drive about 6 hours and get to New York, and I can drive about 6 hours west and get to Chicago. 6 hours maybe seems like a lot for you because Korea is kind of a small country compared to the United States, but actually 6 hours is not too far for Americans. Maybe you can take a plane in 45 minutes. So or maybe 1 hour, take a plane. So I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. This weather is not too different than Korea, except in the winter we get a lot more snow, and our summer is a little bit less hot than Korea. It's hot, but it's not quite as hot and humid as Korea. Although, as you can see, the weather today is pretty nice and cool. I think fall is coming. My favorite food, well, I like a lot of different food. I like Korean food, but I'm a vegetarian, so I always eat the Korean vegetarian food when I can, like sundubu or like jeonju, sundubu bibimbap, or some different namuls and stuff. Or nowadays I'm buying the Korean kongbulgogi, which is pretty good. I like spicy food. I don't like sweet food. I like really spicy food. So I also like Thai food, because some Thai food like somtam is the most spicy food I ever ate. And I like burritos, but I don't really like shiborito. It's okay, but I like real Mexican food or Mexican American food. In my free time, I like to exercise, hike, make art, and play board games. I'm a big board game fan. I also like to watch movies and read science fiction, fantasy literature, and I like to teach you guys. Okay, my goal is to travel around the world to every country, and my goal is to work on my Korean language skill, and also I want to learn Chinese. How about you? What are your favorite foods? What are your hobbies? What do you hope to get out of this class? Okay, what are your goals in your life? Okay, so please include this information about yourself and upload your video to our class portal. Upload your video to our class portal, and if you have problems, please let me know in our Kakao chat group. Okay? So any information you can give me about yourself, remember it should be 1 to 3 minutes long. And if you complete a video profile, then I'm going to raise your score for your profile 1 letter grade. Okay? Okay guys, so you can make your video anywhere, you can make it in your room. I choose to make it out here behind Namsul because there's no people, so I don't need to wear a mask, and it's kind of nice outside today. So you can make it anywhere you want to, in your home, in the forest, in the library, in the cafe, but just something, make it interesting about yourself, something we can focus on. Okie dokie? Okay. Then I look forward to seeing your profile, and I look forward to seeing you in the Zoom class next week. Bye for now.
So after you finish your profile, where do you send it? That's a very good question. Where do you send your profile? Since we don't have class, you can't give me a profile, but what you can do is 1. 선택, choice. You can upload it to our class website. Remember last week you made an account on our class website. If you go in there next week under assignments in English, in Korean it will say 과제물. You can just upload your assignment. Actually, this is the best way. I want you to do this, but for some students, maybe the file is too big and they don't know how to condense it. So if you can't upload it, choice 2 is you can send it to my email, george.beyer@nsu.ac.kr. Okay? However, if you send it to my email, you must please, in the email subject, you have to write 3 things. Remember, I have many students. I have hundreds of students. Please write your name, like Honggil-dong, Isuji, Ihyori, Kang Dong-won. You can write in Hangul, that's fine. Write your name so I know who you are. Some students don't tell me their name. It can be very difficult then. Write your class. So if in your 월요일 3-4, 목요일 1-2, 금요일 4-5, whatever it is, write your class there. Must have your class because I don't know which class you're in. I don't want to search and it will take me a long time, okay? So write your class in there and write the name of the assignment. So the assignment name is profile. Okay, that'll make it really easy for me to give you your grade on it. So remember, you can do a document, but I really would like to see your face and hear your voice because this is an English speaking class. So when you're finished, please upload it here, or if you can't, send it to my email. Got it? Good. Well, don't forget our Zoom class. Well, what is Zoom? Okay. Well, first, download the Zoom app on your PC, on your laptop, or on your smartphone. You can download it there. Probably most of you already have it. This is my meeting password to get inside the meeting, so it's in there. I will put it in the Kakao group as well. The Zoom class time is the same as normal time. It's going to last about, well, between 1 hour and a little bit under 2 hours. It depends. Big class maybe needs a lot of time. But I try to keep it a little bit shorter because I also post the video for you that week. I want you to watch the video. So maybe only about 1 hour or so. So 1 hour in class and then 1 or 1.5 hours in Zoom. Okay, the Zoom rules. If I'm late, please wait for me. Sometimes there's some technical issue. Internet is not good or something. Just wait 20 minutes. If I'm not there after 20 minutes, please, you can go. You can go after 20 minutes. But this semester, I think there's no problems. Please turn on your video. Turn off your sound at first, but turn on your video. And you must speak 3 times if you want to get participation points. Now, you don't have to come to Zoom, but if you do come to Zoom and you speak 3 times, you get participation. If you don't speak, no participation points. Okay? Okay, good. Okay, so we're going to talk about some parts of speech. What is a part of speech? Well, like in Korean, pungsa is like a way that we put together a sentence. So the parts of speech that make up a language, they make up a sentence, are first of all, noun, right? A noun is 명사, 명사. And it's a naming word, and it describes a person, place, a thing, or an idea, right? There's common nouns or there's proper nouns. Now, I know we already know this, but this is just a kind of review. There's a verb, a 동사, a doing word or a being word. So it shows action, something that was done, or something that is being, something that is. Okay. There's an adjective. It's a word that describes the qualities of something, like its size, big, its appearance, ugly, its personality, happy. And it modifies a noun. This is 형용사. 형용사. And then finally, there's an adverb, 부사. It's a word that describes how something is done or how often it's done. So it modifies a verb. So he runs quickly. So it modifies that word run. Okay. She eats happily. How does she eat? Eat the verb happily. So first we're going to talk about adverbs of frequency. I think adverbs are probably the hardest of those for everybody because you don't really deal with them that often. Even native speakers, sometimes they're not really sure about them. So we're going to talk about those first. And we're going to talk about the frequency, adverbs of frequency. So talking about how often something is done. How often something is done. First one, study habits. I got an F again, he says. I got an A plus. You got an A plus again? How do you do it? Well, I always do my homework, and I often ask the teacher for help. Always is the adverb that modifies the verb do. Often is the adverb that modifies the verb ask. You getting the picture so far? Hopefully that doesn't apply to any of you. Well, I am usually late for class, and I never do my homework. So they're bolded there, and you can see both the adverb usually and the verb that's being modified. The adverb never and the verb that's being modified do. Maybe I need to try your study habits. What do you think? Probably, right? So adverbs of frequency say how often something happens. So we can look at the scale of 100%, 50%, and 0%. He always studies 100% of the time. He usually studies, that's like 90%. He often studies, like 70. He sometimes studies, only about half the time. He rarely studies, never studies. Okay. So these are the different scales, and some of them might have a little bit of a vague way of describing, and we can use them in more than one different situation. But if I put them on the test or on the quiz, I'm going to try my best to use this scale. Okay. For the adverbs of frequency, always, usually, often, sometimes, rarely, or never. Can you think of any other adverbs of frequency? There are some other ones. Maybe we'll talk about those when we do the Zoom class next week. Okay, adverbs of frequency come after the verb be in this case. She is sometimes late. So you can see the verb be is, and sometimes comes after it. The students are never bored. The adverb never comes after the be verb are. Adverbs of frequency usually come before other verbs. She often checks her answers. So in this case, often comes before checks. You can see there are different classes of adverbs here then. There are very, very different classes of adverbs, and some of them will come before the verb, and some of them will come after the verb. He usually pays attention in class. Again, usually is going to come before the verb. Usually and sometimes can also come at the beginning or the end of the sentence. So we have another way that we can use usually or sometimes. The dog eats his homework sometimes. Sometimes the dog eats his homework. So you see, in this way, English can be very free with the use of these adverbs. Maybe not very different than Korean, right? The dog sometimes eats his homework. So we can even put it in the middle before, as we explained in the previous slide. As we had explained in the previous slide. Okay, well, this is what I would usually have you guys do in class, but since we're not in class, we just talk about it really quickly here. So practice 1, study at my computer. Work with your partner, describe your study habits, use the adverbs of frequency. So you can do this by yourself and maybe we'll practice it in Zoom class. So practice 1, study at my computer. How often do you study at your computer? Now, we're all in online classes, so I'm going to say probably most of us usually study at our computer. I study at my computer usually. Remember, usually is one of the ones that can come at the beginning of the sentence, the end of the sentence, or before the verb. But probably not after the verb. I think that sounds a little bit strange. And he sometimes studies computer, right? So that's about 50% of the time. How often do you study in front of the television? Many people study in front of the YouTube nowadays. How often do they ask the teacher for help? Unfortunately, many students do not ask the teacher for help. How about you? Sometimes? How often are you early to class on campus? Few students are, I know. How often do you review your grammar notes, your English notes before the test or quiz? How often do you take notes? How often do you make flashcards? How often do you listen to class, or do you just kind of like sleep or put the video on and go do something else? I know this is Junggup Hwehwa, so you guys are all very dedicated students, right? So you probably never do that. Questions with ever. So this is kind of confusing. So sometimes students use the word ever incorrectly because they think that it means the opposite, pande, of never. But ever is not the opposite of never. You only use it in yes or no question. Ever means at any time. Have you ever eaten sashimi? Are the tests ever easy? No, they're never easy. Does he ever get an A? You're never going to say, I ever get an A. You understand what I'm saying? You're never going to say, the tests are ever easy. Only when you're asking these questions in yes or no questions. Okay? Be careful, do not use ever in affirmative statements. Do you ever come on time? Yes, I ever. No, terrible. I always come on time. We want to say, I always come on time. I never come late. I think most of you in this class are going to see that easily. You understand that already pretty easily. But I hear even some advanced good speakers of English in Korea use this incorrectly. It's just kind of natural because they sound like opposites, right? They sound opposite, but they're not true opposite. You understand my meaning? Okay. So be careful. This is the kind of thing, if we had a speaking test, I'm going to put it on there. Questions with how often. Use how often to talk about frequency. When we talk about frequency, we mean how often or how much something happens, right? We were over that a bit. Frequency is like, can I say, 빈도, 빈발, 잦음. This is amount, right? I hope you guys understand my Korean pronunciation. I'm trying. So how often do you study with a partner? How often do you eat meat? I rarely study with a partner. Okay, how blank you? So ask the questions how often. This is another thing we can't do. We can't do questions, but we can practice it. So I'm going to ask you, how often do you fall asleep studying? So pause and tell me, I never fall asleep studying, or I sometimes fall asleep studying. Tell me. How often are you tired in class? I'm rarely tired in class. I always sleep enough. This is the kind of question I'd like to ask on a speaking test. So you can guess, we might do something like this in Zoom class. Okie dokie. So take a minute and practice with yourself. So how often do you study in a group? Nowadays, I never study in a group because the coronavirus. How often are you bored in class? I'm never bored in class because Toji Gyosu's class is so exciting. How often do you practice speaking English outside of class? I rarely practice speaking English because I don't have the chance. How often do you fail a test? I never fail a test. I'm a diligent student. How often do you get confused in class? I always get confused in class because English is new to me. How often do you have a hangover after drinking? Sukchi. I never have a hangover drinking because I don't drink alcohol. So answer these questions for yourself right now. Take a minute, pause, and answer the question for yourself. So what kind of skills do you want to have? Writing versus speaking. We're going to talk about writing skills versus speaking skills, okay? Writing skills versus speaking skills, they can be very, very different. So let's talk about those. Our special case. And we don't have a lot of chances to get a chance to speak in this class. That's why I'm doing Zoom. But our class, we don't have a chance. So try to make some special things where we can do some writing too. And we're going to talk about writing an email. The kind of skill that I think many students want to have, but I can see that many students don't have the ability very well to do it. So emails are a kind of letter, right? Don't forget that emails are a kind of letter. Just like writing a letter we call snail mail, the fast mail is email. They're usually shorter and less formal than letters. They use abbreviated. Abbreviated, if you look it up, it means like a short form. They're often slightly more formal than Kakao Talking or instant messaging. So formal, informal. You guys know what formal and informal is? If you don't know, get your phone and look it up right now. That's your little in-class assignment. So they're not the same as sending an instant message. They should be a little bit more than sending a Kakao Talk. Not as much as a letter, but a little bit more than a Kakao Talk or a Facebook message. In the business world, you should try to appear more formal, not too casual. And I think maybe talking to a professor or something is kind of the same. So first thing you need to do is write an effective subject line. So if you write the email to me, please write something good in the subject. Okay, so like if you send me an email, first of all, in the email, tell me the subject, what it's about, and maybe tell me what class it is. So it catches the reader's attention. I know, oh, this is from Mokgyuil Jungup class. Oh, and it's about homework. Good. I got it already. It's very brief and specific, exact. Avoid big letters. No big letters, because that says shouting. In English, if you write in big letters, it's a kind of shouting. So don't write the big letters. And we're going to talk, it's going to say like attention. Last week's homework. Attention, the part-time job. So if you're trying to get a job, it's going to be really important to write that in there. Attention, our date last weekend. And begin with a greeting. Depending on the formality of the relationship. Hello, dear Professor Kim. Dear Mr. Fox. Hello, Monica. To whom it may concern. So we're going to use to whom it may concern if we don't know exactly who we're talking to, but we want to be polite. Dear sir or madam. So this is the greeting. This is how you talk to the person, whether you have to change it depending on how well you know this person. Okay, you have to change it depending on how well you know this person. Got it? Good. Thank the recipient. So the recipient is the person you sent it to. So for a close friend, you might just say thanks. This is not impolite. Replying to a client or like a customer. Thank you for contacting ABC Company. Find anything to thank them for. Thank you for your prompt answer. Always find something to thank them for. State your purpose. That means why are you writing this email? if you're initiating the communication, if you're starting the conversation by email, then you're going to say why. Why? Make it clear early in the email why you're messaging them. So I'm messaging to ask you about our homework. Keep sentences short and clear. I'm writing to inquire to ask. I'm writing to ask about the homework. I'm writing to ask about the test. I'm writing to ask about the Zoom class. I'm writing to ask you a few questions. I saw your advertisement in AK Plaza. Keep it short and to the point. Eliminate all the information that's not necessary. Okay, so don't write too much. State the most relevant, that's the important and interesting information. Just like short paragraphs, 3 or 5 sentences, not too long, okay? You don't have to make this too long. It's not important to make it very, very long, unless it's like, some emails have to be long. But for us, it's not necessary. End with a closing. So like you got to say goodbye. You said hello, you told your information, and then you have to say goodbye, right? Thank them again. Refer to future context. So I'll contact you again in 1 week. I'll contact you in 1 month. I'll write you back later. Something that you're going to talk to them again. I'll see you in class. Closing, best regards. Sincerely. Sincerely, Kim Ji-hyun. Sincerely, Professor George. Add your contact details like your phone number, address, your office number, another email, your Kakao Talk address. Proofread for typos and mistakes. So proofread means find your mistake. Check your spelling, check your grammar. Did you use big letters for the names? Did you use a period, question mark? Check all of that. Sometimes students don't check it. They don't have a time, or they don't think about it, or they're nervous. Now, if you have a mistake, especially in the professional, it's going to make it look kind of bad. So here's an example of a formal email. This is like not a friendly email. This is formal. So they're writing about the job. Dear Sir or Madam, man or woman, I read on Naver at jobs.com that you were looking for an apprentice programmer. I have studied programming at Namso University for 3 years. I've worked on similar projects to yours using C++ and Java script applications. It's my dream to move on to a big software company in the future. Can you tell me a little bit more information about the position, such as the hours and the payment? Thank you for taking the time to answer my questions. I look forward to your response. Sejun Park, Namso University, Computer Science Department, Office 301, and phone number, contact information. Okay, so tell a little bit about your past, about your work experience. Be formal, don't be too friendly. This is generally how you're going to write a formal email. Okay, so this is kind of important because I know that many of you are going to study abroad, you're going to work abroad, you're going to apply for a visa, you're going to apply for a job. So these can be kind of important way to follow. Okay. Excuse me. I could edit that out, but I'm sneezing a lot because the weather is changing. And I'm very sensitive to the weather change. I'm not sick, just allergy. Okay. And here's an example of an informal email. It's more friendly. Okay, this is more friendly type of email. So, hi Jihei, listen, I've been working on Professor Byers' homework and I was wondering if you could give me a hand. I need some help understanding what he wants us to do for our email assignment. Do you think you could pass on any information you might have? Thanks, Seijun. So this one is a little bit friendlier, right? And you don't have to write long sentences. You could just write a very short little thing, thanks. So if you're writing to your friend in America, your friend in Canada, your classmate from another country, you could write like this. Something that's going to be very, very informal. Very informal, okay? So when you write to me, well, I'm a professor, but I'm okay with a little bit of informal stuff if you already know me well. I know Korean professors like a little bit more formal, but I'm okay with a little bit informal. As long as you check your spelling mistakes and your grammar is good and you have good vocabulary, I'm happy. So use the power of the internet. Use live hyperlinks in your emails if you want to link to something. Or screenshots. Use a grammar and spelling software to check for your errors. Use an online dictionary or a thesaurus.
Okay, guys, so this is your homework. Please write me one email, 10 sentences, george.byer@nsu.ac.kr. Dear George, include your greeting. So that's, Dear George or Dear Professor. Your introduction. This is blank in your class, in your Monday class, in your blah, blah, blah class. Tell me about something you did this week. Okay. You went drinking with your friends, you studied, you worked out, you played PlayStation, you read comic books. Ask me about my week. Ask me one other question or tell me one other thing about yourself. And include your closing. Regards, sincerely, and put your name. If you don't put all these things, you don't get the full homework. Okay? Don't forget, in your email, include in the subject line, remember, include your name, Hong Soo-ji, Kang Dong-won, Lee Hyori, etc. Include your name in the subject, include your class, so Wol 3-4, Hwa 1-2, Su 1-2, include that so I know, and the assignment name, so write the name email or profile. Okay, so this way I can mark your score really fast and there's no problem. Remember again, guys, I can read the Hangul, so you can write your name in Hangul. Writing your name in Hangul will make your subject line much shorter. That's good. Okay, don't forget to include this. If not, it's going to be a long time to get your score. And I'm going to send you an email. Who is this? What is this assignment? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so please include this all in your email. Got it? Don't forget to join our Kakao chat group. Many of you already did. Remember, our group name is George's Intermediate English. You can ask questions in Korean or English. If I don't answer, I'm sure another student will, although we're a little bit shy so far, right? I'm going to put some announcements, advice, reminder about assignment, and sometimes just chatting. We can have a conversation. And after everybody joined, next week, I'll make the group private, okay? So please don't forget to join our Kakao group. Very important information. Okie dokie. Okay, your reminders before we go. Very important reminders. First,
don't forget the upcoming quizzes and tests. So the quiz again is on the week of April 5th. It's going to be online. And then the midterm test is going to be on the week of April 19th. Okay. Sometimes the date might change a bit, but in general should be around that time. Don't forget to finish your profile. Use the profile document on week 1 or this week and print and attach the photo and fill it out. Or I really like the best one, the best way to get 100% is to make a short video and upload it to our class portal. If it doesn't fit in the class portal, send me the email, okay? Please purchase the textbook as soon as you can and start the first unit, Grammar Activities, from English in Common 3. Okay, also very important, because most of the test material comes from there. And don't forget, of course, take care of your health and get enough rest. I think nowadays we need to worry about be calm, relax, get exercise. Nowadays, I think a virus is not too dangerous, but now we need to focus on our mental health, right? It's very important we focus on our mental health. And again, if you have any questions or you want to chat, please send us a message in the Kakao chat group. It's always lovely to hear from you. All right, so next week Zoom, and in 2 weeks, turn in your profile. I want to hear your emails also coming in by next week. Okie dokie, take care of yourself, and I'll see you very soon in Zoom. Bye-bye.